Sorry. It is kind of funny. Have you ever thought about how Bitcoin is dipping and methinks the hedgies are liquidating to get ready to cover? Yes, these markets are interconnected. Nothing exists in a vacuum, and that's why we are almost nearly done with After Hours. This was After Hours with Andrew. Now I'm feeling a little bit more festive. Got the watch on, got the shirt on, and you guys are here with Professor Meatball to look at a Mr. GME. That's right, we have some AMC news to cover. We had a lot of GME tracking. In fact, we had a 4 out of 4 buy signal on GME, but in case you came for your AMC fix, we are going to talk about something that is big and both AMC and GME, which is the oncoming SEC investigation. That's right, Gary Gensler coming down, laying down the hammer for what is to be perhaps the largest SEC investigation into the only chance a short squeeze might happen in our lifetime. And that is the regulations that are being put into place by the DTC, a private organization, to prevent this from happening. But we are close to talking about fantastic celebrities that we have covered in the past, including Wes Christian on Fox News, right? So he's coming out, he's talking to the masses about exactly what he has been talking on those DD Super Stonk live streams. So if you guys want to follow to the end, I will also show you the oldest ape of all. Does that pique your interest? By the end of this video, you're going to see the oldest ape of all. I guarantee it. And we're going to be able to comment out which like you are all the way up to 2,000 likes on this video. Let's get started. First of all, I'm on Cheat Code Algorithm. That link is in the description if you want to see your own 4 out of 4 buy signals. GameStop had an excellent day, not only because it is up double digits in terms of its price action, but it also is holding tight on its short interest, which will show in Ortex. We're holding tight on the amount of options, very consistent in terms of the gamma chain, and we had a compelling 4 out of 4 buy. Not only once, so here's that 1, 2 in the Bollinger, 3 right here on the CC squeeze, and then 4 on the CC swing for a beautiful call right down at the bottom of this, right before the rip here. We also had that just a few days ago. That's right, another 4 out of 4 buy signal here. So if you bought for both of these, you would have been up from 218 all the way up to a sell signal right here. Pretty compelling, a 4 out of 4 sell signal on 286. So that is roughly, wow, that's already like 30% rip. And then when we consolidated our price action and came back down to a reasonable 250, you would have seen a buy signal. Not much to sneeze at, but then another 4 out of 4 buy signal on 250 that would have brought you up to 286. Now currently at the after hours, we are looking at GME over here at 285. That's another 2% after hours, which means 300 pre-market, very, very likely for tomorrow. Like I said, here's the Ortex. Let's clear out the yellow crayon madness here. Let me refresh it, because you know that Ortex comes in a couple times a day. 14%, right? 19% is holding tight, barely any movement today, all underneath 1% change and positive, right? This is starkly different from AMC's position. So don't sleep on GME. If you had been waiting for a tasty dip on AMC, GME has just been standing still and relaxing, waiting for its turn, because when one of these squeezes, we've been saying for non-stop, when GME was up, when AMC was up, that these two are likely going to squeeze at the same time, or one directly after another, which is ideal. That way you can take your attendees from one and move them directly to the other. So now we are also going to take a look at that options chain. This is option sonar. All of these are down in the description below. We are looking at roughly 5-ish million on the high side, 4 million of which is in $300, right? Nothing compared to the sheer mass of the options chain on AMC side, but it's important to note that GME is facing its own personal highs, and we haven't seen millions of dollars per day on each strike price in a good amount of time. So this is great for GME for pulling up its own self by its own merit and trending alongside AMC for much of today's price action. So once again, pay attention to the fact that we had multiple bullish wedges today that did play out correctly, and we have double digits on the day, which is both of AMC and GME to play around with. Now that you have that, let's take a look at this article and understand what Mr. Gary Gensler, chair of the SEC, has in mind for disruptions of the market, manipulative trading, and other misconduct. Someone's going to jail. let's take a look at who. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission warned Monday it is closely monitoring frenetic moves in the stock market and stratospheric surge in values of meme stocks AMC. SEC staff continues to monitor the market in light of ongoing volatility in certain stocks to determine if there has been disruptions of the market, manipulative trading, or other misconduct. In addition, they're going to try to protect retail investors if violations of federal securities law. You want to go to federal prison? That's what you're looking at right now. Hedge funds, taking into consideration that there are two different things that are happening. Right? One, the hedge funds are continuing to short, either rehypothecated, recursive, or naked, right? Or we are considering the criminal activities of a couple of apes buying and holding, right? Of which nobody has been telling you to do any of that, right? Nobody's told you to be able to go up to X, Y, and Z's doorstep and buy this stock, invest in this stock, believe in this stock. No. We've been just telling you to do your own research. So who has the wrong here? Who is in the absolute wrong? You're going to have to find out from Mr. Gary Gensler's point of view. The regulatory statement comes as AMC surged nearly 15% on Monday, which is up 2,500%. Huge! In the year to date. So how much are you up? That's a question that I'm curious for a lot of people. You don't have to tell us. Remember, hedge funds are closely watching, closely monitoring, but give us an XX% to look at, right? X%, right? You're just up to 10%. XX, you could be up all the way to 99. XXX, and you, Mr. Lucky, Mrs. Lucky, are closing in on the coveted 4-digit % up. So meme stocks are that on the rise of social sentiment, but not necessarily on fundamentals. That is now the new definition. So go ahead and tell me in the comments, do you prefer meme stocks or ape stocks? Or do you prefer hot stocks, which is something that we talked about in the chat today? These are just stocks that are too hot to put down. There are the people stock, the pop stocks here. That could be fun too. So hot stocks, pop stocks, meme stocks, or ape stocks. What do you prefer? Once again, we have seen on Superstock Mr. Wes Christian over and over. Let's see what he has to say briefly. This is a 4-minute clip from his time on Fox if you are interested, and I have a feeling that you are. Let's take a listen.
Money for ultimately nothing that was delivered. The simple version would be if you and I, Charles, took our car title and Xeroxed it 100 times and sold it to 100 people, and each of them paid us cash, but we only had one car. That would be a good analogy to what naked short selling is in Texas.
That is a fine analogy for rehypothecated, right? But that still indicates that we share a car together, right? Naked shorts have no bearing on who owns that car. It's like printing a car. One of those like piracy ads that you saw in the 90s, kids understand this? You wouldn't photocopy a car, would you? And honestly, those ads made me really want to photocopy a car. So that said, tangent aside, they are, Mr. West is putting into fine words for the retail audience what naked shorting is. And finally, coming into the zeitgeist, a lot of people are going to point their fingers to the SEC and say, hey, this is illegal stuff happening right before your nose, and you're doing an investigation, right? Let me help you connect the dots. Andrew, Mo Money, if Mr. Gary Gensler or Mr. Wes Christian wants to come on the show, you're more than welcome. This is your invitation.
Simple version, we call that stealing. So that's what naked short selling is.
Okay, and that would explain how GameStop could see 140% of the float shorted because the same stocks were de facto borrowed or not borrowed again and again and again.
No doubt, and there's really multiple reasons for why it still exists. One is it's an enormously large problem, contrary to what some of the other financial press says. For example, in 1993, the fails to deliver were probably several $1 million. By 2003, those fails to deliver in the aggregate were about $6 billion. According to Suzanne Trembass's book, Naked, Short, and Greedy, which came from the source of the SEC, just in 2 weeks in July, the fails to deliver were $17 billion.
$17 billion. Remember, we're talking about millions before in the 1990s. Now we're talking about a magnitude of difference. So as a reminder, take your comma, put 3 more zeros in there, and think about the difference. That is the actual difference between the size of China's GDP, for example, to El Salvador's GDP order magnitude of 3 zeros. If you guys want to know why I know this, I was just on Around the Blockchain. It's a fun little show on YouTube, and it allows me to understand a little bit more about the first part of this video. Why is that crypto market crashing? We know that they got the fatty cows in the beginning of a preparation to call those margins. They're calling you because you don't have enough money, and maybe if you have crypto and you see everyone else dumping, you don't want to end up holding a much lighter coin purse, so you dump as well. So if we see essentially a self-fulfilling prophecy for the dump of cryptocurrency in preparation to this margin call, we're likely going to see a margin call squeeze, a mixed squeeze sometime in the very near future.
So at the end of the day, another study that Dr. Rob Shapiro, former Undersecretary of Commerce, did many years ago. He's with Sonar now. He did a study that showed that 500 million to 1 billion shares were not timely delivered, Charles. Now, to be fair, if you take that out 30 days, 60 days from when delivery should have occurred, that number goes to about half. But it is a systemic problem, and it's. Go ahead. Sorry.
So no, because I don't want to run out of time, and I've got a couple of other things. Hedge funds, we know, are big culprits. What's going to happen here? I guess let's cut to the chase. Will we see the SEC, will we see whoever's in charge take action on something that's happening? It's deemed illegal. It's harmful to the market. Will someone take action on behalf of individual investors?
Won't somebody think of the children? Simpsons fans, you probably know what I'm talking about. Charles Paynes, you're pretty funny. Charles, have me on your show, please. Let's tweet at each other. Come on, Charles.
I think we're seeing a sea change. The reality is, who's really doing most of this from where I sit? And if you look at the regulatory actions at sec.gov and FINRA, it's really the prime brokers. The reality is that there are some hedge funds, but it's the prop desk of the prime brokers who are doing the naked shorting from where I sit, or market makers. And so ultimately, they've got to be looked at. And the SEC has fined a bunch of them for mismarking tickets long when they're short, really, for pre-programming computers to say easy, hard to borrow stocks, easy to borrow. But ultimately, there's a movement and a sea change about, not only because of the litigation we've done for 20 years with our whole legal consortium, but because of these the Reddit groups and the subreddit groups, and frankly, more awareness being brought to this topic, hopefully also with the new SEC chairman that I'm hopeful will do something more than what's been done to date.
Yeah.
Can't agree with Wes more about the fact that there is the air of change. The winds are changing. Mr. Gary Gensler has a pretty great track record. Not to trust the SEC as an organization is fine, but as a man, I'm putting a good amount of wind at his sail to be able to bring us to Tendyland, right? One of the people that has the power holding the key is Gary Gensler himself, the new chair of the SEC, just like Wes said.
Gensler has made comments that gives me hope as well. Everyone knows the problem. We know it's all about money. It's all about Wall Street making money at the expense of an honest stock market. And that's why a lot of individual investors have shunned the market. And once they've gotten in, they become victimized by this. Wes, I wish we had more time. We don't. Congratulations, though. You've got a lot of people out there looking up to you and hoping that you can continue that 20 years worth of work.
20 years worth of work, and working with the apes right now. Like I promised, here is the world's oldest ape. Press respect F in the chat below for Kabi, San Francisco's zoo's beloved oldest male chimpanzee in US history. That is the oldest ape out there. Dies at the age of 63. So close. 6 more years, Kabi. 6 more years. Well, hashtag 6 more years or hashtag F if to pay your respects down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching to the end of this video, and thank you guys once more for 100,000 subscribers. Tomorrow early morning, we're gonna pull some raffle winners for the people that pitched in and subscribed to the channel, especially those of you that subscribed early. Look in the near future for a massive reward because you guys are awesome. Professor Meatball and I are going to have some snacks and scrab-a-dab-a-doo out of your day. Have a great one, and we'll see you in the money. Peace.